What's going on, traders? We have a lot to talk about, so you're going to want to bear with me here because it's going to be a pretty long video. Before we get deep into anything, I just want to talk about the Discord real quick because we absolutely killed it today. We jumped into triple Q puts for March 28th expiration, 490 strike at 3.30. We took profit at 3.75. Nice little $55 per contract off that play. Congratulations to Discord members on that. I put out a trade idea. This is not an official play, but I put out a trade idea that institutions are loading up APP puts for April 25th, strike 330, and the premium was 1.08 million, and they were above the ask. And then our Discord bot also alerted that institutions are loading up 325 puts for March 28th. So it's going to be interesting to see how and if this plays out. So you guys let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Triple Q puts, again, we jumped into more triple Q puts today. 492 strike expiration this Friday at 3.55, and then we took profit at 4.00. So congratulations to Discord members on that. Winners tab, I mean, members, one thing I love is when new members join and they take initiative. They don't join expecting you to babysit them, hold their hand. They come in, they want to make money, they want to learn, they ask questions. They don't sit in the dark and wait to complain when they finally say something. They come in, they take over. This guy, he's new. He made $322 today. This guy, he's been here for about 2-3 weeks, I want to say, made $134 off Baba calls. He also made another $523 off U calls. This guy, he's new. He made, what is it, $584 off Meta calls. Nighthawk, killing it as usual, made $720 off of Meta calls as well. So the list goes on, guys. Point being, you're going to see haters in the comments. I know they're salivating at the mouth waiting on this video. You're going to see haters in the comments simply because I probably muted them in the Discord because they were being disrespectful. They were attacking other members unprovoked. The list goes on, but that's usually why I mute people in the Discord, and those are usually the people that make new YouTube accounts. Like, seriously, if you see some trolls in the comments, check their YouTube account and see when they made their account. I guarantee it's recent, like in March, right? Check their YouTube account, and chances are those are some members that I muted in the Discord because they were being disruptive, disrespectful, attacking other members. I don't kick members out the group if they paid for a subscription. If they paid for a service, I believe they should have that service until their subscription is up. But you guys believe what you want. Whether you choose to believe them, it's really up to you. All right, moving on. All right, so looking at the overall market, we're actually going to start with the triple Qs because something interesting is happening. So we're looking at the, let's go to the 4-hour time frame here, right? So we're looking at a bear flag here, and right now we are right at the top of this bear flag on the triple Qs. Now, what's interesting here is that we have a gap all the way at 19,900, 19,800, give or take. And so one thing I tell you guys all the time, right? Gaps have very strong support and resistance. So if we do manage to reject from here, we can easily head towards this gap fill at around 20K. I don't think we're going to exactly fill this gap right away. I think 20K is a pretty strong psych level, so we could bounce, maybe see more upside from here, possibly hit the 200 MA. Well, actually, this is a 4-hour time frame, so forget about that part. But possibly head back to the top of this bear flag, do it all over again, fill the gap, and then break further down. So that's what I'm looking at for the NQ, and that's why I'm kind of leaning towards this might be a trap, or what we saw today could be a trap. If we look at the triple Qs, you're pretty much looking at the same thing. You have yet another bear flag, right? So you rejected here, you rejected here, and you're pretty much at resistance. Not only are you at resistance, but you're at the 200 MA as well. If we go to the daily time frame, you're at the 200 MA. You're at the top of the bear flag, you're at the 200 MA, you're at resistance at around 494, 495 psych level. So yeah, I would urge to be cautious heading into tomorrow. Not only that, but you have a gap all the way at 480, okay? Your key levels here, okay? 492. 492, all right? You break and hold below 492, chances are you're heading towards 490. 490 is your psych level. You're looking at a move towards 488. Lowest you could be looking at is towards this gap fill at around 484, 485 psych level, and then you can actually fill the gap at around 481, 482. So we'll have to wait and see. But again, we're at the top of this bear flag. I would say you can take a really low risk trade, assuming that the market pretty much stays where it is heading into tomorrow. You can take a pretty low risk trade. You guys know that the highest I think the triple Qs could potentially go is around 499. Like I said in the last video, I think we're going to see a little bit more upside if we don't reject from those previous levels that we were talking about. We didn't get that. We headed higher. A lot of you are mad because I was, I guess, flipping when I was literally bearish for like 3-4 weeks. Like, here's my thing. Do you guys get mad at the market when it flips? Because why do you get mad at YouTubers for flipping? Like, it literally makes no sense. Like, bearish. I was bearish here, bearish here. I was actually calling the top up here on the spot. Bearish here, bearish here, bearish here. That's 4 weeks of me being bearish. And as soon as I like be bullish for one day, actually, I only made one bullish video actually. Suddenly I'm like a flipper, I'm a flop. Like, what are we talking? Like, I'm sorry, I'm not a perma bear, guys. I mean, I let that be known. I'm not a perma bear. I'm not a perma bull. I go with what the market gives me. Simple as that. So I thought that was pretty crazy. We're gonna talk about that death cross in a minute, but yeah, triple Qs. Be careful, guys. Simple as that. You look at the SPY. The SPY. So I'm not liking what I'm seeing here because you're forming a doji, and dojis mean uncertainty. Okay, simple as that. It means the market is uncertain. So I don't like the fact that we formed a doji right above the 200 MA. You want a more convincing candle than this. So again, we can easily form some type of pattern here where we get a bearish candle and then we form an evening star pattern, which you guys know about evening star patterns, pretty bearish patterns, right? And we form an evening star pattern, maybe get one more bounce, retest the 200 MA, and then we head further down, start filling this gap. So definitely want to be careful once again. I think there's an actual bear flag here as well. So yeah, you're looking at, I mean, you're looking at bear flags across the board, guys. So yeah, I mean, that's clean. You can't even argue this. Like, that's clean, super clean. Like, what? Please argue. Please tell me this is like off. Like, you can't argue this. So definitely be careful heading into tomorrow. I don't think we have much news tomorrow. I think it's just FOMC members speaking. So yeah, they can say some craziness. We'll see. But like we always say, gaps have very strong support and resistance, right? So let's say if we head further down to the downside, we can be looking at a move towards about 568. Your key level here is about 574. We break below 574, heading towards 572. You're in a pretty tight range, so this was probably going to be annoying even heading towards the downside unless the bad news or whatever bad news we get comes in pretty strong. But ultimately, you're looking at a move towards 568. Maybe we bounce from there because we know that gaps have very strong support and resistance. Get one more test to the upside and then start filling this gap. So we'll have to wait and see. But again, you got bear flags forming across the board, guys. So definitely be careful. I think I've said that enough, right? All right. So Tesla. So Tesla is forming a hangman pattern, right? My issue with this hangman pattern is that it's green. Typically, when you see green hangman patterns, they form at the bottom of a bearish trend. So you would much rather prefer I guess, a reversal hangman pattern to form down here versus up here. So this is kind of bothering me because it's not exactly bearish, so we'll have to wait and see. But ultimately, I think Tesla may have a little bit more upside. Today I alerted to Discord members, yes, we're going to look at quant data, be mad about it, but if we look at Tesla, I saw that I alerted to Discord members that institutions are loading up, where is it, here it is, 295 calls on Tesla, expiration April 11th. They were loaded at 278.43. So whoever got into this play, definitely in profit. Premium was 1.12 million. So yeah, absolutely killed that one. So if Tesla does head further to the upside, I imagine you're going to see some type of turbulence at around 300. We'll have to wait and see. But the main concern here is this area right here where these guys are. A lot of cocaine bears in this area, guys. So if Tesla does manage to break higher, and let's say it breaks above 300, you're looking at a move towards 310, between 305, 310, and then highest I'm looking at, if we manage to get above 310 for whatever reason, you're pretty illiquid all the way to about 330. So we'll have to see if this hangman pattern plays out to the downside or continues towards the upside. And if it does continue towards the upside, I wouldn't be surprised it's like a trap, right? You just do one of these and then you just wick off of it and then you break down and start filling this gap all the way at 250. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, ultimately Tesla looks okay. Okay, I'm just gonna say that it looks okay. All right, so that's what I'm looking at for Tesla. Apple. So Apple has bounced off of support here at around 219. It's reclaiming this trend. I think Apple is simply trying to head towards this 200 in May. So ideally, if Apple is going to pump towards the upside, you may see the market pump towards the upside unless Nvidia dies while Apple pumps, because Apple tends to be a safe haven when the market, plummets or crash or correct, whatever you want to call it, right? So Apple, ultimately, I still think is going to get cooked. One thing I want to address real quick is, yes, we take losses in the Discord, guys. Right now, we are in Apple puts, getting killed on them. Okay, so it is what it is. You take losses right now, but the contracts are all the way for April 17th, so I'm not too worried about them. All right, but ultimately, that's what I'm looking at for Apple. Is it April 17th? It might be April 4th. Yeah, I think it's April 4th. So we'll see. But ultimately, I do have a strategy. I do have a plan for what I'm going to do with Apple because ultimately, I still think this thing is going to tank towards the 180s on the next market drop. We'll have to wait and see. All right. So that's what I'm looking at for Apple. Nvidia. Nvidia. So Nvidia still being annoying. I mean, still being annoying. So let's talk about the death cross because you guys, I don't know what world you live in where you think patterns show up and it's supposed to play out right away. We live in a time where people have this idea or this entitlement of instant gratification, instant satisfaction, where they see something when it comes to money and they think it's supposed to play out right away. Death crosses do not play out right away, guys. I'm sorry to break that to you. So, I mean, death crosses simply don't play out right away. So, where is it? Here it is. So, if we go back in time, right? We're on a daily time frame. We're on Nvidia, right? When this death cross happened, you consolidated for about a solid week on the daily time frame here on Nvidia, right? Before it even played out. The death cross happened right here. You consolidated for a week, you started to plummet. You consolidated for another week, you plummeted some more, you consolidated for another week. So I don't know if you guys think that we were supposed to, I guess when I mentioned the death cross, that we were supposed to just immediately tank the next day. Like we were just supposed to, oh my god, like I don't know what you guys were expecting, right? Let's be realistic here. The death cross is still present, the 50 cross below the 200 MA, all right? But you can easily pump a little bit more. You possibly can hit 127, 133 before this death cross plays out. I'm only mentioning this because somebody was like, oh, you did calls on Nvidia, but you were talking about a death cross. Why would you do that? And I'm just like, brother, I trade whatever the market gives me, right? So I don't necessarily care, um, as long as I make profit. Simple as that. But yeah, death crosses do not have to play out right away, guys. I don't know what world you live in, where patterns and things like that have to play out right away in your favor. Like I mention this all the time, patterns do not have to play out right away. You look at SOXX. I mean, SOXX and SMH have a death cross as well, right? But you look at SOXX. Look what happened when SOXX had its first death cross. What am I doing? I mean, what are we talking about here? You had a death cross, you pumped towards the upside, you actually went above the 200 MA, and then you plummeted. You consolidated some more, you plummeted, you went above again, you plummeted, and then ultimately this is the part where the death cross really played out. Like, come on. All right, let's be a little realistic here. Let's act like we understand how the market works. All right, if you don't know how things work, ask in the comments below. As simple as that. Do not assume because I mentioned the death cross that we have to tank right away. SMH, death cross played out a lot better than you usually see, right? But ultimately, it doesn't mean that they have to play out right away. Okay, simple as that. So, let's use some common sense here. Before you start trolling in the comments, just simply ask, like, hey, what's the time frame for death crosses, right? When do they usually play out? Usually takes about a week or two. Simple as that. I could have answered that. We could have moved on, right? So that's what we're looking at, okay? When it comes to death crosses, they do not have to play out right away, guys, okay? I know you want instant gratification. You probably jumped into puts like a genius or whatever the case may be, assuming that it was going to play out right away. But I'm sorry, that's not how the market works. Okay, the market doesn't work in your favor. Okay, or the market doesn't care what you want to happen right away. Okay, so always look for confirmation when you're watching YouTube's, when you're watching, if you're following Discords or you're looking at options chain, use them as confirmation, guys. Simple as that. Okay. Um, Quant data real quick, and then we're going to go over the VIX. I mean, screenshot it, do what you need. I'm not going to go deep into quant data anymore. Simple as that, because I mean, I was bear. I talked about quant data being like institutions being bearish for like weeks, and they were right for weeks, right? I was talking about dark pools, everything like that for 4 weeks straight. The moment, the moment we get 2 days of upside, quant data doesn't work. It's a scam. Like blah blah blah. Like what are we like? Goldfish memory, legit goldfish memory. You guys have some of you have goldfish memory. It's insane. Like we just forgot that this happened, and the reason why you liked quant data or the options chain was because of this happening, right? So it's crazy how quick we forget, right? You do great things all your life, and then you do one bad thing, and people remember that forever. That one bad thing forever. I think that's absolutely insane. So I'm not gonna go deep into quant data, guys. Screenshot, do what you need right here. It's all here. Okay, it's all here. The list is here. Whether you want to play these or not is truly up to you. I'm not telling you to play anything, okay? Let's get that straight. I'm not telling anyone to play anything off this list. All right, so that's what quant data is looking like. That's what institutions are doing when it comes to quant data. Another thing, I don't get paid from quant data. If I am, I haven't seen it. Okay, I haven't seen a dime. Okay, so someone was like, "Oh, you're just trying to promote quant data." I promote quant data because you guys asked for quant data, right? You asked, "Hey, where can I get this information?" I put it in the comments. So it is what it is, I guess. I don't know. You just can't satisfy everyone. But regardless, let's look at the VIX, and then I want to say that's it. Okay, so the VIX. So the VIX is at this fair value gap. All right. Not only that, but it's about to hit this trend, guys. So yeah. All right, about 16.8, you really want to be careful. If we just happen to break below this fair value gap at around 16.5, chances are we're heading towards 15, and you guys know what happens every time we hit 15, between 15 and 14. So you definitely want to be careful. So we, again, in conclusion, all right, we got bear flags across the board, right? We got death crosses across the board, okay? We got a bear flag on the triple Qs, right? We got a bear flag on the triple Qs, 4-hour time frame. We got a bear flag on the SPY, 4-hour time frame. We got a bear flag on NQ, 4-hour time frame. We also got gaps to the downside that possibly need to get filled. I mean, the list goes on. You have a depth cross on Nvidia. You have a depth cross on semiconductor ETFs. You have the VIX pretty much about to hit this trend line, mitigating this fair value gap as well. I mean, the stars are aligning, guys. The stars are aligning. I'm not saying, we're going to tank tomorrow or anything like that. You guys know I don't try to predict for the next day. It's more so for the upcoming week or so. But I've been pretty spot on. I've been pretty spot on. Okay. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Discord link is in the description below. Please only join the Discord if you have a good mindset. Okay. Or don't join the Discord. If you have a terrible mindset, if you're expecting instant gratification, if you're expecting a lottery ticket win off of Discord, or you're expecting $1 million play, or your rent to get paid overnight because you're behind on it for whatever case, and now you want to take it out on the whole world, please don't join. Please don't join. I'm happy with my 200 members. We will be fine, I promise. And if those members decide to leave, or 100 of those members decide to leave, cool, fine, whatever. It is what it is. But ultimately, if you're willing to take initiative, if you're trying to learn, if you're trying to make money with us and you're not expecting an overnight come up, by all means, the doors are open. Join the Discord. Link is in the description below. Until the next video, traders, have a good one.